Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? How is everybody feeling? Thank you so much for tuning in to another Mojo Mondays. Today, I just want to inspire people to reflect on whatever past situations and allow yourself to gain some type of insight from it. How are you learning from past situations? What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about the past situation at hand, or if it was involving another person, what did you learn about them? And one thing I wrote, because I got a little post-its here, I wrote, the people who treat you the same stay the same. The people who treat you the same stayed the same. And I'll give you a quick example. When I moved out to SoCal, I had some family out there who treated me the same. And although I felt like I've grown, I evolved, a lot of the interactions were pretty interesting because I wasn't, I like to say bow down. Like, I wasn't bowing down to anyone. I was standing up for myself. I was being more vocal about things that I believe in, and standing up for myself. Because sometimes you get family members who they will say or do certain things, and it's almost like they're testing you. And I noticed even when I came back to NorCal, there will be people from the past who I've not seen in years, and they would approach me and speak to me like how they used to when I was, a teenager. And my thing is, I just find it interesting because I know I don't do that. I feel like I have enough self-awareness to where if I haven't seen you in a long time, I'm going to treat you as if you're a stranger. I'm going to still greet you and give you a hug and all the love stuff, but I'm not going to treat you in a way that's going to take you back to the past, because not everybody's there. An example would be an alcoholic. If someone's drinking alcohol and let's say years down the line they don't even drink anymore, are you going to offer them alcohol? And if you do, and they say, hey, I don't drink anymore, are you going to get on them like, hey, why don't you drink anymore? No, I think you should respect them. Like, oh, okay, my bad. I didn't realize you stopped drinking. And then you just leave it alone. Okay, I'm trying to take a breath. I feel like when people from the past, or people who treat you the same because they decided to stay the same, I feel like when they notice something different about you and they notice there's something happened, they feel weird about it. And for me, I don't quite understand that, because you don't know, in that whatever gap frame that you have not seen that person, you don't know what they've gone through in other situations. You don't know the work that they put in. You don't know them like that. You know them from the past and you knew how they were before, but it doesn't mean that they're the same person. Just because you decided to stay the same doesn't mean that they're the same. So you want to approach them differently. And of course, people who stay the same or decided to stay the same, they don't even know how to approach you anymore. They don't. And now all of a sudden you change. You're different. You're this, you're that. And it's like, yeah, I am. And so that's been my response lately. And people are saying you changed, or you're being disrespectful or whatever. A lot of it's because they no longer can manipulate, or they can no longer control you. They don't have the tools to move you around like you're a puppet, and they don't know how to handle that. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll create a smear campaign, and that's kind of what I'm experiencing at the current moment, but I really don't care. I actually get inspired by these things. When people do this, they will try to have other people view you the same way they do. They don't want to be the only one feeling this way, because they feel like, oh my gosh, like I feel exposed. I'm going to expose this person and make them out to be the bad guy. Go ahead. When I was a little girl, I've noticed pattern recognition at a very young age. I've learned this in my own family. I've learned how if you don't look a certain way in my own family, I've learned that if you don't abide by certain rules according to other people, other adults, then you're going to be the problem child. I've learned that you can be the problem child all because you came out the womb of someone else that they don't get along with. I've learned that you can be the problem child because ultimately they're having a problem with your parents, with your mom. So I've learned all of that. So when things like this happen in adulthood, you know what it does? It just pushes me away. You're not going to get a reaction out of me. And anyone, let me rewind, anyone who has the emotional intelligence and they can regulate their themselves because they are mature, you're not going to get a reaction out of them. There's really nothing to say or do. So when there's a downfall because people are treating you the same because they decided to stay the same, I feel like, something's not adding up, right? Something's not adding up. Like, how is this person thriving and minding their business, and the other person is talking all these negative, mean things? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add on. And the thing about it is that people will do that because they feel like they still need some kind of power over you. So if they don't have power over you, they will see if they can have power over the people you are still in contact with. And the thing about it, you got to be careful with that, because people, at the end of the day, they're going to believe what they want to believe. And also, people are going to feel however they feel. They're going to think however they think. And if the way you think and the way you feel doesn't match with them, then what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Let's just be real. So I feel like, because I've noticed this a lot as a child, I've gone to 10 elementary schools. So I've gotten used to being the new kid on the block all the time. I was always the new kid. And kids will say mean things that I've heard before. And because I've recognized these patterns, I would stay away from them. And I, of course, will become friends with those who weren't being mean or disrespectful. And then the other kids will get mad because, again, it's like a territory thing, where even if they're not necessarily friends with those group of kids, but they know them longer, so you need to be on their side kind of thing. Why are you friends with the new girl kind of thing? And it didn't happen all the time, but if they did do that and they would try to like leave me behind or whatever, kids, it would crack me up, because they would look around and they would be like, why isn't she reacting? It's like they were doing things to get a reaction. And the thing is, because I experienced that a lot as a kid, I recognize it a lot as an adult. A lot of adults are like that. They're big ass kids. They're big ass kids. Some of them are stunted in their growth, and that's why a lot of them stay the same. A lot of them are big ass kids, stunted emotionally for whatever reason, and they stay the same. But they decided to stay the same because we all have choices. We all have choices. You have the choice to grow and expand yourself as an adult, and you have the choice to stay the same and maybe not learn or grow as a person, as an adult. And if that's not your thing, then guess what? It doesn't have to be your thing. But what you're not going to do is get on me or other people who are deciding to grow and evolve as an adult and get to the point where it's like, okay, well, they're not the same, or they changed, and I feel some kind of way about it. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of. I'm seeing a lot of big ass kids who are feeling threatened by other people. By other people who are simply minding their business. They feel threatened. And honestly, I feel like a lot of it is guilt. They have guilt. They feel ashamed. And instead of them addressing that like an adult, like a grown person, they would rather take that heat, those problems off of them and put it onto you. Put all the tension, all the negativity on you because it's your fault. Right? It's all your fault. It's all your fault that they that, blah, 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 blah. Do you want a nipple on a bottle? Do you want a nipple on a pacifier? That's what I want to sing to them, because it's really like big ass kids with pacifiers and bottles in their mouths. And seeing that, doing a lot of reflecting when it comes to situations. And of course, used to work at a school. A lot of adults, they don't want to grow. They don't want to grow. They don't want to evolve. They're comfortable in whatever chaos and turmoil and drama that they're in. They're comfortable in it. And instead of them addressing those issues and eliminating those problems, eliminating the drama, they want to add more fuel to it. And you not reacting is a problem for them. And to be honest, not reacting, in my opinion, is the best thing. The best advice ever. And I don't just say these things, I listen to my own advice. I think it's super important to set boundaries with yourself. You can set boundaries with yourself and not just put boundaries onto other people, because boundaries really are for you. They're really for you. Your boundaries are for you. It's not for anyone in particular. But at the same time, you have to know when to cut yourself off. If you keep coming across situations where you are really trying to make things better, but the other person's not doing their part, you might have to cut yourself off. I cut myself off from relationships. I cut myself off from friendships. I cut myself off from family. All of it because there's a lack. There's a lack. And for me, I'm not going to overextend like how I did before. And unfortunately, when you're on the path of growing and evolving, you can't really be around those who don't get it. And it's not to say that you need to cut them off forever. I feel like, there are different phases in life. So you don't want to cut people off if you don't really need to, obviously. But at the same time, you want to have the same respect for yourself as the respect you give out. And if they can't reciprocate that, if they are on the side where they're expecting you to come around, they're expecting you to kiss and lick their toes, and they're not coming around and they're not giving you that positive energy, and they keep, again, treating you the same because they stay the same, you have to cut them off sometimes. And it might be a week, it might be months, it might even be years. You know, there's family I have not spoken to in years because a lot of them are not being accountable for their actions. A lot of them are not being accountable. A lot of them are not being respectful. A lot of them are treating you in a way that they treated you when you were younger because they have whatever beef they have with you, or they have whatever beef they have with your parents, but they're taking it out on you. Like it's so immature and so childish, but I do see this a lot in grown ass people, regardless of the dynamic, regardless if it's family, friends, people you work with. And I will look at these situations, and again, I will try to become inspired by it. I will try my best to gain some type of insight, and that's why I'm here. I like to consider myself a catalyst, and just like how some of us recognize different patterns from growing up, different patterns in adulthood, different patterns from when we were kids, etc., etc., I notice whenever I'm in a space, I am the catalyst of change. And I own up to that because in my opinion, change is good. I'm always changing and evolving. And I find that especially in our current lifetime, why not? Why wouldn't you want to change and evolve? And even if you're changing and evolving at a different pace and in a different way from other people, you recognize the changes and you want to inspire others to change. And for me, because I'm a personal trainer, I'm a yoga instructor, a Reiki energy healer, I find that it's important for me to evolve and grow as a person. It's something that I want to do personally, but it's also super important for my business. So when you go around other people, they don't quite understand because again, you haven't seen them in however many years. There's this gap here. They don't know what has happened in this gap. You don't know what has happened in this gap, but someone has either stayed the same or they changed. But did both people change and grow together? Probably not. And the thing about it, some people grow apart, whether if it's family, friends. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean it's forever. And sometimes it is. But ultimately, you're changing and evolving for yourself. And if other people can't understand that, then guess what? You can kick rocks and stub a toe because you're creating unnecessary problems, all because of your own guilt and shame of you not changing and evolving. You not changing and evolving is a problem, all because you see someone else doing it. The other person who's growing and evolving has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. They're growing and evolving for the sake of their own personal gain, their own life. Their evolution has nothing to do with you or anyone. So why even make it about that? You know what I mean? Why make it about that and hate on that person or get jealous or try to create a smear campaign because they are their authentic selves? And the thing, it really boggles my mind because people will swear up and down they want authentic people. They want to be around authentic individuals. They embrace authenticity. And then they have the nerve to get mad at you for you showing up as yourself. It just doesn't make sense. So you mean to tell me you like real people and real recognize real, but because my realness is different from your realness, or the way I do things or whatever is different, then it's wrong? Man, get out of here.